Hey everybody, it is Natalie from Power Moon Tarot. Welcome to your reading. Today's reading is your spiritual gateway. Choose your spiritual gateway. And I'm doing this reading to celebrate the Sun-Jupiter conjunction that we're having in a day. Actually, is it today? What's today? It's today. So it is upon us. And let's go ahead and get into your reading. The energy is there regardless. You know, we're with the new moon in Cancer. We're having a Sun-Jupiter conjunction. And so we're going to tap into that energy and ask about your spiritual gateway. And we have 3 gateways to choose from, depending on what you're feeling today. For pile number 1, we have past life, research your family history or your past lives. Okay, so that is one spiritual gateway. For pile number 2, we have seek the adventure, take the first step and find your inner self. And this looks like a galaxy a new opportunity that we're jumping into, or a new galaxy that we are going to be visiting for your spiritual gateway for pile number 2. And for pile number 3, we have dreams. Pay attention to your dreams. And this dream card right here. So is your spiritual gateway through your dreams. So depending on what energy you're feeling today or what pile is calling to you, and again, you can watch more than one pile, definitely, if more than one is calling. And let's go ahead and get into the reading and talk about your spiritual gateway into new experiences, new truths, new lessons, gentle lessons, and a gentle release of pressure. Let's go ahead and begin for pile number 1. For those of you that would like to follow me on social media, I'm Natalie H. Astrology on Blue Sky. And for those of you that would like readings with me, details are in the description box. Whether you want a tarot reading or astrology reading with me, details are there. Let's go ahead and begin. Okay. Pile number 1, welcome to your reading. You chose past life, and today's reading is your spiritual gateway choosing. And she's definitely standing at a door here, looking back at her life or lives that she's lived in the past. And we're looking at this as a gateway of truth and a gateway of learning to experience the Sun-Jupiter conjunction that we're having in the sky right now. So let's go ahead and take a look for my pile number 1s. Let's take a look at how your past lives are basically becoming this spiritual gateway for you. Pile number 1. What learning is there for pile number 1, and how are their past lives becoming a spiritual gateway for them? You know, and what can you use in the present moment from past life analysis, right? And that's one of the main reasons why we like to go back and look at past lives, is we like to see what we can dig up and what we can bring forward into this lifetime for analysis and review and hopefully resolution. So we have 5 of Cups here on the bottom of the deck, and that could be like something that feels unfinished or something that feels perhaps sad or perhaps unfinished. Pile number 1. Let's see what we have here. We have Ace of Wands. We have Page of Wands. We have the Wheel of Fortune. Oh my gosh, I love this energy. And the Knight of Wands. Oh my God. Okay, so, things start off as a little spark, and things that we started that we had no idea where they were headed end up turning into this really big thing. And we have these major twists of fate that lead us into, I don't know why I'm just lead us into temptation, but deliver us from evil, right? I don't know why I'm getting that in my head. I think it's the Lord's Prayer, right? Deliver us from temptation, but lead us not into evil, but deliver us from temptation. But there's an opportunity for a situation to come around a second time and for it to be a lot better. Pile number one, okay, where it can be a lot more, it could be a lot more exciting, fun, hopeful, fruitful, bountiful, an opportunity that leads you to the most exciting, happy, buoyant, bouncy version of yourself, okay? So let's see what else we have here. Let's see what else we have. And I feel for you guys, I feel that in a past life, you had some very exciting experiences. Like you traveled, you would take risks, you would go and try to push the boundaries of your experience, and you were always willing to like hitch a ride with a stranger. And people traveled in strange ways back in the day, not strange ways, but by horse and buggy, or by camel, or by, there was different ways to travel, of course, back in the day. But I feel like you guys had a calling in a past life that took your soul elsewhere, and that you were not shy about leading a life that was very like fun and spontaneous, and you weren't shy about asking for what you wanted either. And you were always ready, I feel like, to do something fun. You were always down for the adventure, or you were always ready to to go. And I feel like maybe there are places you've only read about in this lifetime that you've really liked to visit, or there's places that you've seen pictures in books or magazines, or you've seen them on social media and you're like, man, I'd like to go there someday. Man, I'd like to escape where I am in my life right now. And man, I'd like to leave this country and go somewhere else and do something else and meet new people and have exciting experiences. And it all starts with a spark. It all starts with an idea, and being open to trying new things. Pile number one. We have Mercury and mind here, okay? And we have the fourth house and roots. Yeah, and this is where your home is, right? This is where where you live, okay? And I feel some of you are needing to make a decision about where you live, or perhaps going somewhere else, okay? Pile number one. And maybe it scares you a little bit, and maybe it is a little bit, it's easier to study something from the comforts of your own home and not really take on the adventure, okay? But I feel like a lot of people can have this idea that time has passed me by, and adventure is for young people or really youthful people, Page of Wands. And maybe some of you are like, yeah, when I was younger, I did want to travel to a lot of different places. I did have dreams of going to school in a different country, or I wanted to go to school in a different country, and I wanted to learn other things than what I didn't want to stay in my like home country, and I would like read about places that you could go, or I would study things from my own home, but I didn't want to stay there. Okay, is kind of what I'm feeling, is that you didn't really want to stay there, or you weren't like super happy about staying there. We have comfort, yeah, and we have trust. Okay. And Mercury is about researching and analyzing data. And if you're thinking about, going and exploring a new place to live that's like more exciting or more you, or you're just thinking about traveling, okay, and you like to sit from the comforts of your own home and think about it and kind of like twirl your hair and think about it, pile number one. I get it, right? But life is meant to be lived, is what I feel like your spiritual gateway is kind of like. Choose adventure, choose fun. You're gonna meet interesting people along the way. There may be somebody who in your life who has been traveling and who has been on the road and is coming back into your life with stories of traveling and being on the road. And you're like, well, that's great and that's awesome, and I wish I could come too, but I don't know, I feel like safer at home. I wish I could go with two, but I feel like safer at home. Or I feel like I should stay home, and I need to think about this, right? Mercury in the mind. I need to think about this. I need to analyze this and think about this, and like crunch the numbers, and do I have the money to pay for this? Does this make sense? Da da da. And I get it, right? We gotta like think things through sometimes before we leap. But I also feel like there's somebody's journey that really inspires you. And it kind of reminds me of like Anthony Bourdain, who made that show Parts Unknown. Watch that show, pile number one, if you haven't seen it. And he basically, he's a food critic, but he goes to like different countries and he tries all different kinds of food, and he like really lives, and he really is, I mean, he's very much like, his archetype is very much like Wheel of Fortune and Knight of Wands, right? And he meets people from the local culture. He doesn't really like have a place that he's calling home per se. He's just kind of like traveling to different countries and trying all these different foods. And he is, and maybe there's like this thing with the Mercury in the fourth house of, would I get homesick or miss the comfort of home and things like that. And it's kind of like getting out and trying something new is what I feel. Okay. And the confidence to get out there and try something new. And I feel like watching somebody else do it, and it could be just on a TV show, you see someone doing it, like living their best life, or it could be a person in your life that goes off and does something and you're like, whoa, that really inspired me, or that was like really, really cool. And it kind of makes you forget your problems, Five of Cups, or it kind of makes you like focus on looking forward instead of looking back. Okay. And this card here says research your family history or past life. The fourth house is one's family history. And this is card number 28. I feel like somebody could have in your family history could have been an explorer, or somebody could have like, gone to a different country or gone off on their own or been some type of an explorer. And maybe you're like, oh my God, I had no idea. But like, 6 generations back, so-and-so was actually an explorer, right? And Mercury is where we can like analyze our family tree and where we can ask questions about our family tree. And, these are people that like would be today's like modern, like backpacking by themselves through Europe kind of people, or people who are like in hostels, like backpacking through Europe. Or, I mean, Jupiter is more on the Wheel of Fortune, and Jupiter is more on the side of luxury, right? And comfort, or traveling in comfort. So perhaps someone is inviting you on a trip, and it's like you're gonna be comfortable, you're gonna have fun, you're gonna enjoy yourself. Just go, let's go, come on, like that type of energy. Use fire with care and water with impunity. Wow. And there's tons of fire in your reading. And water, 5 of Cups, right? Fire, like anger, is powerful and unpredictable and can cause lasting damage among the vanquished. Water, which shapes its course according to the nature of the ground over which it flows, soothes the argument and slowly, without destroying your opponent, turns them towards your point of view. While fire can deliver victory, water delivers increased strength. Okay. And the 4th house is also a water house, and it is a house of our ancestors. And perhaps there were like a lot of fiery people in your ancestral line that were very impulsive and powerful, but also unpredictable. And that did cause 5 of Cups, that did cause like lasting damage, or did cause a lot of damage at times to themselves or other people. Okay. And perhaps some of you here have water and fire in your chart. I mean, right now, Neptune is in Aries. That's a very much fire water type of a combination that we all are having to learn about, right? Like, fire, like anger, is powerful, but it can be very unpredictable. And this talks about having peak experiences that are extremely powerful, that open up our mind to new ways of looking at things, right? But with Mercury in the 4th house, I feel like, it's kind of like thinking about our emotional reactions to things, or analyzing our emotional reactions to things before we act. Okay. And yeah, water shapes the course according to the nature of the ground over which it flows. It soothes the argument, okay, without destroying your opponent, and turns them towards your point of view. Okay. And I do feel like there is someone who is who either you or this other person is becoming very comfortable and trusting towards. And maybe you're thinking about taking a trip with this person, or going on an adventure with them. Okay. Pile number 1. So that is very interesting. We have not talking. You aren't communicating your needs clearly. You need to discuss how you feel. Okay. And that's the 5 of Cups. Okay. And Mercury in the 4th house is also, the 4th house is our feelings. And in order to talk about how we're feeling, we have to feel comfortable with someone and trust them. Right. And trust that, right. And sometimes we're not talking and we're holding things inside because we're not comfortable quite yet with someone. Something is really new, Ace of Wands, and we're like super excited about it, but we're not quite comfortable talking about it yet. We have too risky. You feel like it's not worth the risk, but opening your heart is a risk worth taking. And you see a surfer here, and this surfer is really catching a wave, big time, okay? And perhaps you're feeling like it is too risky to talk to someone in your life about something that you've really been thinking about on a deep inner level, and you're just not sure, okay? And when you see this person, they are really excited, and you guys talk a lot about culture and travel, and your philosophical beliefs and your plans for the future. And sometimes this person's including you in their plans, sometimes they're not. Sometimes, fires can be unpredictable that way. And, and maybe some of you are kind of scratching your head with the Mercury energy here and saying, are they including me in this plan? And it is exciting to you, okay? This Five of Cups could be like a past life of feeling like being, like you got left behind, or that you were abandoned or left behind, or you had to leave someone else behind, pile number one. And so we can kind of stay in, like with the fourth house, we can kind of stay in our like comfort zone a little bit as we contemplate a decision and kind of withdraw. And maybe that is what is going on, where we've deemed something to be too risky. So we don't want to bring it up, or we don't want to talk about it. It says, imagine how good it'll feel when you're done. Keep going. Okay, imagine how good you'll feel when you're done. Keep going. And I'm getting something about a tattoo. For those of you that are in the middle of working on a major tattoo, like a sleeve or a big back piece or a big piece on your leg or your arm or wherever it is, I feel like, maybe there's been times you've like, shit, this hurts, I don't know if I want to keep paying for this, or I don't know, or it's taking a really long time or whatever. But it's kind of like, when you sit down and you're doing something in phases and you commit to something. And I feel like for those of you who were looking for a tattoo artist, I feel like they are good. You're comfortable with them and you trust them, and they're very creative and spontaneous. But they may not always be available for bookings in the time frame that you need, okay? I'm just saying, imagine how good it'll feel when you're done. Keep going, okay? For those of you that are removing tattoos or getting them, or, those are big projects to take on, right? And anything that is a really, really big project where you're enlisting the help of someone else, imagine how good it'll feel when you're done. Keep going. Especially for those of you who are like locked in your house working on something that's taking a lot of mental concentration. Mercury, you're working on your thesis or your PhD or papers or your grading papers or whatever it is you're doing. Imagine how good it'll feel when you're done. Keep going. We have chemistry. The attraction you feel is mutual. Yeah, Page of Wands, Knight of Wands, and sharing the same dream or sharing the same vision for the future. The chemistry that you feel is real. Pile number one. And it's not just with this person, although I feel there is a chemistry with a person in your reading here. It's also like with your life direction and thinking about, is this thing really for me? Or is it just going to make me sad? Is it just going to be another thing that I don't like at the end of the day? And Spirit is saying, no, the attraction you feel to this vision or this dream, it's a mutual attraction. The dream wants you and you want it, is what I feel like is saying there. And we have in the flow. Ooh, and the jellyfish. Ooh, I love the jellyfish. The universe is sending you help. Tap into your inner power and go deeper to create the purposeful life you really want to have. Yeah, in the flow, okay? And go deeper to create the purposeful life, right? And I feel like the Page of Wands, the Ace of Wands, and the Wheel of Fortune, that's the purposeful life. That's the mission. That's the opportunity. That's the change that you're looking for. Tap into your inner power and go deeper. The fourth house. Maybe there's some thinking and exploring to do when it comes to your ancestors or your past lives, to say, what is it within me that really drives me forward to a future a dream, okay, and then getting in the flow with that, it hurts more to resist it than it is to flow with it, is what I feel, pile number 1. We have expression. You need work that lets you express your creative self. Yeah, Ace of Wands, definitely. You would do well at writing, blogging, or a career in communication. Yes, Mercury is coming up in your reading and talking about some really deep topics with the 4th house here and your creative expression. And sometimes planets in the 4th can get a little bit hidden for those of you that do have planets in your 4th house. You know, and it is about bringing those energies to life and letting them breathe a little bit. You need work that lets you express your creative self if you would do well at writing, blogging, or a career in communication. Amazing. Pile number 1. Okay. And that is in the flow for you. And that is the chemistry that you would feel. And if you know, when you're in the flow with your creative self-expression and you're blogging or writing and you're working on that life direction, it actually takes you out of the 5 of Cups. Oh, we have Revolution, and actually this card came up for pile number 1 a couple days ago. And for those of you that have chose pile number 1 the last couple days, I mean, welcome to your reading. The fire is really burning right now. And this is about radical change, giving up the old to make way for the new, and taking a quantum leap. Yeah, the Page of Wands is taking that quantum leap towards the Wheel of Fortune for sure. And this is your spiritual gateway, is that quantum leap and giving up the old in order to make way for the new. And the mind is definitely like on fire with ideas. The mind is like a phoenix waiting to take flight. And you don't give a damn what anybody else thinks about it. Pile number 1, you're in the flow with your energy, okay? And it's funny because it has that fire water symbolism we were talking about earlier with the phoenix like rising out of your head. And then there is like a jellyfish or an octopus kind of like hanging out in the background. So pile number 1, that is what I am getting for you. Maybe some of you know that as a totem animal. Thank you so much for coming to your reading today, pile number 1. I wish you all of the best. Take care, my loves. Enjoy your spiritual gateway. And let's move on to pile number 2. Pile number 2, welcome to your reading. Your reading is called Seek the Adventure, Take the First Step, and Find Your Inner Self. And today's reading is a spiritual gateway about the Sun-Jupiter conjunction that we are having. And your guys' theme for your reading is Seeking the Adventure. So pile numero 2, let's go ahead and begin your reading, my lovies. Hope you're having a beautiful day. Hope you're staying cool. I know in the Northern Hemisphere, especially over the United States, we have like a major heat dome happening right now. And oh my God, it is hot. So let's go ahead and Jupiter, give us some relief. All right, so let's go ahead and see for my pile number 2s who have chosen to seek the adventure as their spiritual gateway. Show me what pile number 2. Oh, the Star card. What is their message? What is the message here for pile number 2? Who are seeking this spiritual gateway? We have Princess of Swords. Oh, the Queen of Swords. Okay. Justice. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of air sign energy in your guys' reading. It's a lot of Libra energy in your reading. And we have the Moon. Oh, wow. And the bottom of the deck is the Fool. And that is perfect. With the Fool on the bottom of the deck, that is what I would expect to see. And, you know, taking a step in a new direction or taking a leap in a new direction when you're seeking the adventure, that is definitely, definitely coming up. Now, I'm getting an energy here for you, pile number 2, about some of you like protecting your peace so hard, or maybe cutting people out or making decisions to cut certain people out or not to talk to certain people anymore. All right. I'm really focused on this Queen of Swords and how she has her hand raised up like, no, don't. And, you know, there's this whole thing sometimes about how like when we protect our peace a little too much, then we're kind of out here alone, or we feel a little bit alone. Now we can decide whether that feeling is peaceful, right? With this Moon card, she's out here at night looking at the moon, and that could feel very peaceful. All right. Or it could feel, you could feel a little lost too. Okay. And I feel like, you know, during the daytime, you guys have to make a lot of decisions about things, and you have to be a very confident decision maker in saying whether something stays or goes. And this could be at work, okay? This could be in your personal life, but you know what you do and don't like. You're like, yes, no, okay? And, you know, I mean, in the past, I feel like we see the Princess of Swords here, maybe bending the rules a little bit for people, or maybe kind of like bending what you said. Like I said, I wasn't going to go for anybody, right? That has like, you know, and there's certain things in relationships with justice that we have certain criteria, right? Like, I don't want to date anybody with kids, or I don't want to date anybody that lives at home with their mama. You know, like there's all kinds of, it's like, stop, no, I don't want anything like that. Or at work, I'm not gonna like, you know, if you're looking through resumes or something like that, and you're like, I don't want anyone, I need someone that with this level of education. I've hired people with less before, and it's just, you know, like been a mistake, right? So I kind of feel pile number 2 that there is this with the Queen of Swords and Justice in the middle here, there is this emphasis on making strong, impactful decisions based on data and information and experiences that you've had in the past. And maybe when you were younger, or maybe when you were less experienced, you would, and you can see how the sword is bent there, you would kind of, you would kind of make exceptions to things, and you would kind of, you know, let things slide a little bit more, pile number 2. But I feel like, you know, as you've gotten older, you've gotten really, really strong in your decision making, and maybe even very, you know, stubborn in your decision making. No, I don't like it that way. I don't want it that way type of thing. And, you know, at night, I feel like during the daytime, you're like, I got this. And a lot of people rely on your decision making and your ability to call a spade, and, you know, your ability to point out the truth in a situation. Like, a lot of people rely on that. Pile number 2, okay? But secretly, I feel like there's this side of you that's like thinking of something else, or is like, like for your personal life, I feel like you're kind of like, I don't know. I kind of want to start over with something, okay? And I feel like, you know, you are really connecting to nature. You're really connecting to the moon at nighttime. But some of you may be feeling, and again, this is where you have to weigh it out. I feel pile number 2. Are you feeling a sense of peace and a sense of oneness with the cosmos when you're like alone at night and you're looking up at the moon and you're feeling like very reflective about life and thinking about the past and the decisions that were made in the past and all of that? You know, are you feeling comfortable, or are you feeling lost? Or are you feeling disconnected emotionally from yourself or others, right? So this is where, you know, maybe asking yourself with some flexibility with the Princess of Swords, asking yourself these questions, right? Like, when I'm going to go outside and stand and look at the moon, do I feel connected to like a larger sense of who I am? Do I feel, you know, connected to my emotional state? Because there's a lot of mental energy in your reading, which maybe during the workday or things like that, you have to use your mental energy a lot. But at night, you're feeling kind of like lost or emotionally, I don't know, maybe you're just feeling a little emotionally disconnected from the rest of life. And the question to ask, and again, we can ask ourselves some gentle questions about, you know, what would make me feel more connected, right? What would make me feel more connected to my emotional self, right? And so, you know, and how do I relax enough, maybe mentally, and how do I turn off the logical side of myself, or the logical part of my mind that tells me I shouldn't do that, that's not possible, or that's a dumb decision, right? How do I kind of turn that part off a little bit and make room for other thinking to come through, is kind of what I'm feeling here. Pile number 2. We have Uranus and Genius. Oh, I love that. That's wonderful. And the 9th house and faith. And this is where we want to try something new. And the 9th house is very much about seeking the adventure. The 9th house is also about following our Dharma. Maybe some of you are going to be having the Uranus going through your 9th house when it enters Gemini. For my Libra rising people, and again, we have Libra all over this reading with the Queen of Swords and Justice, that you are going to be having Uranus in your 9th house when it moves into Gemini. So yeah, definitely. And that totally makes sense. And you know, maybe changing the way your belief system, or changing the way that you look at yourself or look at the world, or giving yourself some room to breathe when it comes to exploring and developing yourself as a spiritual being, and taking the road less traveled, taking the path less traveled. Okay, if you've gotten used to always kind of calling the shots, or always kind of making the decisions the same way every time. If you have a decision tree and you're just going through the steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Until something kind of gets thrown on your path that is new or unusual and kind of makes you pause for a second and go, wait a second, I've never thought about this before. I've never really actually thought about this. We have mystery, okay, and we have movement. Wow. And I feel like another question with Uranus, we can be very restless, okay? And I feel some of you, like, you are on top of your game in a lot of ways, and you are making good decisions and whatnot, but you may be feeling really restless about your life. Like, yeah, but something just isn't resonating for me on a deep level, and I feel like I'm not in the right place at the right time, and I feel like I need to be doing something totally different, and I'm starting to feel kind of really restless in my life, okay? And yeah, we have mystery and movement, okay? And it's like, I don't know why I feel so drawn to that, to something else. And I feel like it's all about questioning right now with the Princess of Swords and the moon. It's like, I don't really know what that other thing is yet. I don't really know what's kind of there, but it is making me feel like questioning a lot of things, and I'm feeling very restless within myself, and maybe even a little bit anxious as well. Pile number 2, we have here, value your friendships. Friendship is not something that you hand out to anyone. Sometimes they are the only confirmed. Sometimes friends are only confirmed in the dark and troubled times. Oh yeah, right? The moon, when we're alone, when we feel like we're just on an island by ourselves, when we're in our most dark and troubled times, who are our true friends? Friendships can form instantly or grow slowly over time. An act of friendship does not have to be grand or dramatic. Wow. It can be just that person that comes and holds your hand in a moment when you're feeling very lost, right? Or gives you a hug when you're feeling very, very lost, and just sits with you and is quiet with you and doesn't say anything, and nothing needs to be said, and you're not trying to moralize to each other, or you're not trying to give each other advice, or you're not trying to tell the other person what they should or shouldn't be doing in their life, right? You're just sitting with them. That's it. You're just sitting with them. And sometimes that is the best thing. An act of friendship does not have to be grand and dramatic. It can be a lot of a little kindness added together. Yeah, little kindnesses added together. Friendship can take a lifetime to earn, yet be lost in a second. Wow. Yeah. Friendship can take a lifetime to earn, but be lost in a second. Nourish your friendships. Yeah. Yep. Oh boy. And the Queen of Swords with Justice is where we can be having some harsh cutoffs in our life, or things. And I talked about protecting your peace earlier, and kind of like, cutting people off, and then maybe feeling at sea or feeling alone. And yeah, it's a very, very interesting situation. And I feel with this Princess of Swords here in this Fool card, I feel like there is room to change and grow. Okay. Yep. Friendships can take a lifetime to earn, yet be lost in a second. Yeah. Especially if people are being very judgmental and critical of one another, or not respecting each other's decisions, that type of stuff. Words can really cut. Okay. And sometimes we are being very like straightforward Queen of Swords with somebody because we don't want to see them get hurt, or we don't, we're trying to be helpful, right? But maybe it comes across as being very harsh, okay? Yeah, but we have this value your friendships here coming through. And sometimes people change too, right? And people change and they're just like totally different and they're on like a completely different path. But we still want to try to be open to them or be a little bit flexible or still talk to them because they are our friend. I mean, maybe, and see how we can work through that. We have past trauma. You need to take time for yourself and heal your past trauma before moving on. Okay, and this could be where the moon card is really coming into play. Sometimes as soon as we're faced with a moment of silence or a moment of being alone or sitting in our feelings, we get very, we get very restless, or we think about all the things that we could change like in our outer life instead of, we go and we change a lot of other things instead of just kind of sitting with what has happened emotionally. And maybe there's some past trauma here that is impacting friendships, okay? And where harsh words were said, or or things were taken the wrong way, that type of stuff. And I've been there, pile number 2. I have certainly been there myself, okay? And past traumas can affect one's friendships for sure. We have not committed, always chasing or being chased. You must be willing to commit to one person, okay? And this is where I feel like the Queen of Swords is very much having a standard, okay? And you can see these two are very locked in with each other, okay? And there can be an aspect with a friendship where one person is always off, chasing their dharma, or doing whatever they want, or is very rebellious and is not into settling down or committing or slowing down or that type of thing. And then another friend who is very much about commitment and slowing down and having standards. And that can sometimes create interesting dichotomies in the friendship too. About who is more committed to the friendship than the other. You can have runners and chasers in friendships, even, that can trigger a lot of past trauma about commitment issues. So yeah, pile number 1, we have take some time to enjoy the things you worked hard for. Yeah, and I feel with the Queen of Swords and Justice, you have really, really worked hard, and maybe sometimes the pressure was very high for you to learn, right? Princess of Swords, for you to learn something as quickly as possible, to get your arms around it and to be able to work with that knowledge as quickly as possible. And mentally, you've had a lot going on. And yep, take some time to enjoy the things you worked so hard for. And let's see what else we have here. We have strictly sexual. This connection is passionate, but not enduring. Okay. And this could be, and again, sometimes friendships can turn sexual too. Sometimes, yeah. And sometimes we like to talk to someone and just see how they're doing, or chat with them every once in a while, and they're still not willing to commit, and they're still off living their grandest life, that type of thing. And maybe if you're feeling very judged, pile number 2, because you're not in a place right now where you want to have any type of serious commitment, or maybe you don't, or maybe you want a serious commitment, but there's so many people around you that are just like whatever, they don't care, or they're just like living however they want to live. Maybe there is an aspect of you with this moon card and this mystery and movement that wants to be more like the Fool and just not give a shit and just not care so much and just kind of do whatever the hell you want to do, which is very Uranian type of energy. Maybe there's an aspect of you that was like, God, I wish I just didn't care so much. I wish I just didn't like, I wish I could just go and like, right? Your pile is called Seek the Adventure. I wish I could just get past my logical side and just go do whatever the fuck I want to do, right? And maybe something like that does need to happen, pile number 2. Maybe that is a calling that is, and it's not to, you don't, depending on whatever you're comfortable with, you don't have to go whatever strictly sexual, things with people, but you could go live your life. You don't need permission from anybody. Pile number 2, we have adventure. You make exciting work moves that could take you outdoors or on a trip. You will need to climb steadily to reach your financial goals. Okay. Yep. And I don't feel like you guys have a problem with climbing steady at all, because I feel you can do that. You're really good at that. And some of you here could be very good with your social connections when it comes to networking and work. And you're very polished in the way that you present yourself and communicate. And, because you are like very polished in the way that you network and communicate and talk to others, you will get invited to different things like, networking, work trips, maybe even outdoor events. All right. And for those of my people in this reading who have heavy Libra and Capricorn energy, Libra Capricorn can definitely talk about, social climbing in a positive sense and having the right connections to get to where you want to go. And again, we see a person sitting on top of a mountaintop, but they're sitting alone. And the question, and they look like they are on an adventure, and your pile is called Seek the Adventure. So I absolutely love that. Okay. Are you good with that? Do you feel that is like, if you're sitting alone and you're on an adventure, are you like, hell yeah, I don't care if I'm sitting alone. I love being on an adventure, Natalie. I don't need anybody sitting there with me. I'm independent. Okay. That's very Uranian energy. If that's how you feel, then good for you. Go on the adventure. You don't need anybody else to go on that adventure with you. But, I do feel like your ability to talk and network and socially get connected with the right people is going to help you take on the right, you're going to get in the right places with the right people. That's going to take you up like 10 different levels. I feel pile number 2. Okay. And yeah, so let's see what else we have. We have strategy. Yes, exactly. And you know what? That's the thing about Athena. And Athena is a goddess of strategy. And she is very connected to the Libra archetype. And Libra is an excellent strategist. Okay. And you can see there's a chessboard here. All right. And, and the Queen of Swords, you better believe it. She has got an insane strategy, like amazing strategy to get what she wants. Okay. And so I feel like you are definitely going to get what you want. If you're trying to go on trips for work, or you want to go on trips for work, or you are like, you know what, I'm going to take some time to go on this trip and I'm going to go by myself and I don't care because I love to learn new things and open my mind to new things, and I'm going to go travel and take this adventure. And if I'm on my own, I don't really care. I want to follow my dharma in life. If someone's there to do it with me, great, but I'm not going to sit here by myself alone. I'm going to go do what I want to do. So I love that, pile number 2, and I love a person that knows how to work the politics of a situation and knows how to run good strategy. And I feel that's something you do very well. You need a step-by-step plan of attack to reach the next level. Get the advice of someone who is already where you want to go. Yeah, and definitely with the Queen of Swords and Justice, for sure, an advice-giving energy. Libra is very much associated with that. This could be getting a very powerful mentor, pile number 2, that can take you to the next level and help you just really like stay open to the next adventure that could potentially come your way. And yeah, I feel like, you know, adventure and strategy go hand in hand because, I mean, yeah, I do feel like you are feeling with mystery and movement. I do feel like you are feeling restless and you want to try something different. And some of you may be feeling a little bit lost as to why that is, but it may be something emotional, having to do with past trauma and, you know, emotional energy that kind of is lingering from that. But pile number 2, you're definitely going to have time to, you know, wet your whistle, so to speak, pile number 2, and, you know, get that sword out and start, you know, whittling things down to what you want, I feel here. We have the attraction of opposites. Ooh, okay now. Seduction, temptation, magnetism, okay, and meeting halfway. All right, and this could be where, you know, the Queen of Swords and Justice is all about meeting halfway on something and keeping things fair and balanced, all right? And you and another person could be total opposites, right? You could be very logical, very like data-driven decision maker, that type of thing, and you could be meeting somebody who is really like, they're very rebellious and scattered, and they're kind of all over the place, and they are constantly changing their mind about things all the time, and they're never really in one place for a long time, and that type of thing. And they're maybe not like the best with commitment all the time either. Okay, but there could be a lot of magnetism and temptation between you and this person. Okay. And yeah, the attraction of opposites. And I feel like what you guys are saying is, Natalie, I'm okay with it as long as it's fair to me and it doesn't like interrupt what I'm trying to work on in my life. Okay. Like I'm all right with having a hot, sexy, you know, seductive magnetism encounter. It can't like really be affecting like my work life or other things that I'm working on in my life. Because, and I feel like you're very good at compartmentalizing, pile number 2, which is also a Libra thing. It's like this thing over here and this thing over here. And you're fine. I feel like maybe some of you might be okay with it, but you're like, it just can't really get involved with what I'm doing because I have other goals going on. But I don't know, maybe some of you are like, you know, I have been craving some type of, you know, emotional connection or some type of touch, right? The moon is all about emotional connection and touch and losing our logical mind and kind of just, you know, making out with that person under the moonlight type of thing. And, oh, who gives a shit? I'll think about it tomorrow, you know? Type of energy. So pile number 2, that is what I am getting for you, my loves, in pile number 2. I hope that I hope that reading resonated for you, my loves, and I wish you the best in your spiritual gateway. Let's go ahead and move on to pile number 3. Pile number 3, welcome to your reading. You chose the dreams pile, and today's reading is called Choose Your Spiritual Gateway. And we are celebrating the Sun-Jupiter conjunction, which is currently happening right now. And we are going to take a look at your spiritual gateway and using your dreams as a way to pump up the volume or pump up the jam, as it were, pile number 3 on your spiritual gateway. So let's go ahead and see. Show me how pile number 3, show me how their dreams are becoming a spiritual gateway for them, please. Show me how their dreams A dream is such an odd thing, pile number 4. Why did I call you pile number 4? Pile number 3. A dream is such an odd thing. Anyway, we've got the King of Cups on the bottom of the deck, and we have 3 of Swords, Knight of Swords, 5 of Wands, and the Fool. Oh boy. What a tapestry. What a drama. Okay. And woo. Pile number 3. Are you having dreams about somebody from your past that you guys broke up and they're telling you sorry, or telling you that they have regrets? Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Pile number 3. I'm getting something about like Greece or an island. I'm also getting something about those stones that people set up, you know, when you go to places and stones are like stacked on top of each other randomly. I forget what that's called, but I am getting something about that. And I'm getting something about like the Colosseum. Maybe some of you had a dream about that. Yeah, let's go ahead and, you know, there is something about here about taking a risk or pursuing something that could be like a little bit dangerous, okay? Or, you know, maybe even a warning that came through in your dream that was like, okay, make sure you look before you leap, or make sure you don't go into situations without understanding them first and what kind of chaos exists on the ground level of a situation before you kind of like take that leap. Now, the Fool can very much be, especially when we're talking about dream time, can very much be about, you know, astral travel, or the liminal space between waking and dreaming, or, you know, being out of your body while you sleep, or astral travel, okay? And the 5 of Wands could definitely be about getting, going to an area where there is like a lot of fighting, or there is a lot of, you know, outspoken people who are very kind of set in their ways already with what they want and are kind of being very chaotic about expressing themselves, okay? And wanting to kind of like be the leader in the situation, okay? And some of you could have had a dream where, you know, you were kind of like dumped into a situation where people were having a lot of unrest or where people were fighting. And, you know, very unexpectedly, you showed up type of thing. And, you know, and this Knight of Swords is really interesting because it feels like this Knight of Swords is chasing after something that possibly has the ability to hurt it, or has the ability to disappoint it or hurt it kind of without thinking. Where we chase after things without thinking about the aftermath and how it may hurt us or affect us later down the road, okay? Or chasing after things that are not good for us, okay? And, you know, this is all like very exciting, kind of wild, kind of rushed energy that is coming through in dream time. And maybe like with the King of Cups, maybe you woke up and you're like, well, I kind of feel calm and at peace, but you know, I had this dream that my ex showed up, or somebody I was with in the past, and they were trying to chase after me and apologize for something, and they were trying to reappear in my life, and it was causing like a lot of drama. But I woke up feeling pretty well adjusted, right? King of Cups. I woke up feeling pretty nice. Okay. And if that's the case, pile number 3, good for you. There is something here about the lengths that people are willing to go to prove that they weren't trying to hurt you, that it was like an accident, okay? And the Fool can be where we can say like, oh, I didn't know, or it was an accident, or I didn't mean for that to happen. You know, there's an innocence about the Fool. There's a folly about the Fool where it's like, well, I didn't mean, you know, like I didn't mean for any of that to happen. And I wasn't, you know, trying to hurt you. Okay. And I'm trying to fix what I started. I'm trying to fix what I did. And if I could go back to the beginning, the Fool card, I would, right? And yeah, so, and there is something here I feel like about being somebody being too proud at the time to admit that they were wrong, or to admit that, you know, there was a problem there, that type of thing. Okay, so let's see what else we have here. We have Neptune and Sacrifice. Well, that is dream time for sure. Okay, Neptune is very much the dream time. We have 11th house and Friends. Okay, now this could be somebody that like you ended things with, and you decided that you were going to be friends, or perhaps this person wanted to be a friend, or maybe there was this grand like delusion that me and this person could be friends, or me and this person would actually be friends that would like take care of each other and be there for each other, this type of thing. But Neptune, you got to be careful with Neptune, because Neptune is, you know, illusions, and Neptune is also the planet of dreaming. And you can see here that this friend is sort of like wiping the tears of the other friend and taking care of the other person, okay? While looking into the eyes of someone else. There's a third person here. while looking into the eyes of someone else, someone is wiping away your tears. So there could have been a third party with the Three of Swords or some type of a betrayal, okay? Pile number 3. And again, I'm just going where the energy goes, my friends. Don't yell at me, okay? We have disruption. This has been a radio broadcast, and it is a disruption. No, just kidding. Pile number 3, okay? We have disruption and death. Wow. Okay. And that's where there's like a lot of static on the line, okay? And let's see. I feel like there's almost 2 stories here, pile number 3. Like there's the King of Swords, or this Knight of Swords with the Three of Swords, like someone trying to tell you that they're sorry, or trying to tell you I didn't mean to do that, or I didn't mean to hurt your feelings, or I thought we could still be friends, or this type of thing. Okay. But I also feel like there's another thing with this Fool and the Five of Wands. Some of you could have had a dream about, and certainly I wouldn't, some of you could have had a dream about war, or like stumbling into a situation that was already in progress where there was fighting going on. All right. And you were trying to stop someone from hurting themselves or hurting other people. Okay. And yeah, pile number 3. Very interesting. We have here, yeah, willing to sacrifice yourself for a friend, or willing to help another to stop their death from happening, perhaps. Okay, there's some deep things going on in your dreams about sacrifice and the people that you care about. And, the King of Cups here is interesting because, you can wake up feeling spiritually refreshed. And it truly is about choosing your spiritual gateway and what energies you choose to tap into spiritually when you are dreaming, because there's different energy threads, pile number 3, that are available to you to kind of jump into. Now, for those of you that have had a friend that passed away, and there's things that you wanted to say to them before that happened, or you have a person that you cared about, a loved one, an ex, something like that passed away, or a friend, I feel like there is definitely something going on in your dreams about that. Pile number 3. And it's not bad, though. I feel it is, I feel like it is trying to comfort someone, or trying to spiritually care for someone, King of Cups, or trying to comfort someone during a time of loss, okay? Or even make them laugh, right? If someone is going through a really hard time, or is really like having a hard time with something, sometimes we can do silly, funny, goofy things in order to make somebody laugh or lighten the mood a little bit, okay? And I feel maybe some of you are doing that in your dreams, okay? There's certainly a lot of there's certainly a lot of fear energy on this planet right now. There certainly is like a lot of people who are scared and afraid and in the middle of, fighting and stuff like that. And we need, even spiritually, we need like a friend or a person who would be willing to show up and help others laugh or help others relieve some of that pressure and relieve some of that tension. So I do feel like that is coming through. And maybe you guys are like, you know, the cosmic clowns in your dreams. And, you know, the cosmic clown is like this sacred clown. That's like the fool energy. And, you know, showing up in a situation that's like very heavy and very dramatic, and where people are fighting and there's like a lot happening, and being able to comfort others through a very unique way, through making them laugh or making them smile. Like that is very much that energy of like the sacred clown. And I kind of feel it's really coming up in your spiritual gateway here, pile number 3. We have feel the fear and do it anyway. Yeah, and I was talking about, you know, there's a lot of energy of fear on this planet, and how we have to kind of like lighten the mood and be like the cosmic clown. And, ooh, and I love this. This is talking about Nelson Mandela. Feel the fear and do it anyway. That's so Fool and 5 of Wands. It's like, you know, having a dream where we're falling, or having a dream where like we step off the cliff and then we're flying or falling, and then it's like, oh my God, I'm scared, I'm going to crash into the ground, this type of thing. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Nelson Mandela once wrote, "The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. If you need to do something fearful, remember President Roosevelt's declaration that we have nothing to fear but fear itself. Face it, okay? Share your fear with your friends." Yeah, that's so crazy with the 11th house of friends showing up here, and the comforting each other. And, you know, share it. You have nothing to fear but fear itself. Face it. Share your fear with your friends. There is safety in numbers. And if you feel safe, you will feel braver. Wow, what a message. What a message, pile number 3. That is your spiritual gateway. Feel the fear, okay? And this could be like where I'm scared, I'm standing at the end of this cliff, and I feel like if I jump and go over it, I'm gonna die, you know, death card here. And then it's like all of a sudden there's a big disruption, and my friend makes me laugh and giggle, and I'm laughing so hard that I'm crying, and my friend comforts me, and I don't feel so bad. You know, there's a recent story about how like 8 people were on a hot air balloon ride in Brazil, and it caught on fire, and like, you know, many people, there was like 20 people on this hot air balloon ride, and 8 of them died. And they said when they recovered them on the ground, like 3 of them were holding each other to comfort each other. And I thought, oh my God, like, wow, you know, like it just really like, that was like really intense when I heard that they were like holding each other. Yeah, and it's in those moments of spiritual comfort that we can provide to others in really scary moments, and hopefully, you know, nothing like that is happening, pile number 3. And I don't think it is, but like, you know, there could be some nervous energy going on where, we're a little afraid because last time we really went after something or spoke out about something, it broke our heart, or it really hurt our feelings, or something really hurt us as we were trying to, you know, I do feel there is an I'm sorry for hurting you, or someone trying to prove here with this that they really didn't mean to hurt you, and that they're hurting too, this type of energy, okay? And that chasing whatever never really like did anything for them, that it only led them to heartbreak, is something that I'm getting. We have being cold. All right, you seem unapproachable because you're aloof. Try being more friendly. All right. Well, this is definitely with the Knight of Swords and the Three of Swords. Um, you know, you seem okay. So this could be the Knight of Swords can definitely be very cold, okay? Emotionally. The Knight of Swords likes to talk but isn't known for being like very sentimental, or is can be very cold and aloof, okay? And we could be talking Aquarius energy here. There's a lot of signs towards Aquarius energy here. But this is where we can be wanting to make people laugh, or we're wanting to tell people that we're sorry or things like that, but we're afraid that they're going to reject us, or we withhold love from something because we're afraid that the other person isn't going to kind of give it back. All right. And yeah, or this can be where people are being very cold towards other people's suffering. And yeah, and I don't feel you guys are cold towards other people's suffering, pile number 3. I don't feel that at all. But, maybe there is an aspect of you that's been a little bit distant, okay? And this cosmic gateway is about you really embracing that Fool energy, really embracing that, silly, goofy fun. Like, I'm going to be there for my friends. I'm going to feel the fear and do it anyway. I'm going to, for the people I care about, I'm not super sentimental, but I do like to make them laugh. And if they are scared, I do like to tell jokes and make them feel at ease and make them laugh so that they're not in pain and this type of stuff. Okay. So I like that. I like that. We have not compatible. You don't really believe there's a match for you. Have an open mind. Okay. And, maybe you guys have been kind of cold and turned off to love a little bit because, I talked about this Knight of Swords and this Three of Swords because you've been hurt. All right. Or you've lost people in the past. Okay. And when you were young and very innocent and naive, and people might have used that energy in a way that was not good. And then you became a little bit colder. And then you started to feel more distant from people. Okay. And so your spiritual gateway is about kind of bringing back, I feel like, some of that innocence, some of that original, playful, innocent spirit that you once had, okay, before everything happened, right? And some of you could be, for those of you that are in some type of a connection with someone, you could be having a dream that they're telling you it's over. Or maybe before every single breakup, you've had a dream that that person was telling you that it's over. Or you've gotten some heads up in a dream, okay? And you could feel like the coldness in the relationship, or you could feel that you and this person were no longer communicating or talking, and that, it was just a chilly silence that pervaded the relationship. Okay. And some of that may have been coming through in your dreams as well. And somebody who is like very cold and doesn't really, takes like the silent, how people use like this silent treatment and against others, and who are very cold. These are not the type of people for you. I feel, pile number 3, they're really, really not. Because for those of you that have a feeling to kind of pull back anyway, being around these types of partners aren't really challenging you to open yourself up emotionally. They're just like creating more of what could possibly grow or be there. Do you see what I'm saying, pile number 3? So yeah, that is definitely partners who are very cold and unemotional and, don't have that innocent, fun, silly, goofy, make each other laugh, be a friend to one another, be there. Those people, the people that don't have that are just like very cold and distant, are definitely people that would not make you happy. And with the King of Cups, I feel like as you've grown emotionally, you've come to see like what you need emotionally in order to flourish in a relationship. Your wildest dreams deserve a chance. Oh my gosh. Yep. And this is feel the fear and do it anyway. We're going to do it anyway. Pile number 3. And your wildest dreams do deserve a chance, my loves. And we have balance. One person is giving too much in the relationship. Okay. And with Neptune energy, making too many sacrifices for the other person, being too open, being too trusting, being too whatever, giving them anything, the clothes off your back, whatever they need, right? And, somebody trying to explain themselves to you in their dream, or trying to explain why that is, or why they were that way, okay? But ultimately, at the end of the day, one person is giving too much in the relationship, and when things are out of balance, that is when things are just not working, right? And if things are out of balance, we need courage, right? Ask what you are afraid of so you can overcome what's holding you back right now. There are leadership opportunities for the taking. Now, we have Aquarius energy pretty strong in this reading with this lion here. We have the opposite coming through, which is Leo energy. Warm, inviting, open, very like courageous, strong energy coming through in this reading. And we need a balance to that, right? Like that's why we have signs that are opposite to each other. Aquarius is balancing Leo. Leo gets too egotistical and too prideful. Here comes the Aquarius energy. Aquarius gets too cold and distant and remote. Here comes the Leo energy to warm them up and make them laugh, right? So it's that balance that we need to find in things. And one person is giving too much in this relationship, and we need the courage to confront that, okay? And there's a lot of, in your reading, there's a lot about feeling the fear and doing it anyway and having the courage. And I love that with the Fool energy, because it's not like, oh, we don't care what happens to us. It doesn't matter. Who gives a shit? It's not that. It's more like, I am open to my wildest dreams deserve a chance. And I have the courage to embrace whatever comes my way. And even if I have to face some hardship along the way, 5 of Wands, I'm doing it anyway. Okay. And we have influence. Use your influence for change. You may do public speaking, social videos, or interviews. Your voice and opinions are important. I love that. And if you have a motor mouth in your dream, Knight of Swords, who's constantly trying to talk to you about relationships and breakups and this type of stuff, whether it's people from your past or whatever, I feel like a lot of this are really interesting stories, or really could be done in a really, they don't have to be so serious. They could be done in a funny way, pile number 3. And perhaps some of you should start a podcast. I love a good podcast, pile number 3. And, it takes courage to speak up about our experiences and really be honest about them. And yeah, I love that. If you want to write or have a podcast about your experiences, go for it, my loves. And I used, back in the day, like I'm talking way back in the day, pile number 3, I used to blog the hell out of my sex life. And it was so fun, pile number 3. I can't even tell you. I can't even go there. But it's definitely something to think about. We have here We have pushing upward. All right. We have accepting challenges, a promotion, or receiving recognition. Yeah, I feel like for you guys, courage, influence, getting noticed, all of this is basically kind of embracing that role of the sacred clown or the fool energy of, trying new things, having courage, speaking out about things, accepting challenges, right? Five of Wands, accepting a challenge and then receiving recognition as a result of accepting that challenge. Okay. And so, yeah, I feel like there's a lot of things that you could do here, pile number 3, to balance some of this energy. Feel the fear and do it anyway, courage and influence, and staying away from people who are very cold and distant because, you actually are very sensitive with this King of Cups energy here, and being around people that are very cold and distant may actually kind of rub off on you in a way that isn't the best for you, pile number 3. And so, yeah, I do think I am a big fan of you guys just going for it, feel the fear and do it anyway, and perhaps even starting a podcast or speaking up for social change, maybe starting a YouTube channel of your own, pile number 3, okay? So that is what I have for you guys, pile number 3. Wishing you the best in this spiritual gateway. Take care.